Hello and welcome to my ongoing series, Roblox Myths Explained. In this series, I talk about various Roblox myths and everything you need to know about them. In today's episode, I'll be talking about Amelia Agard and everything you need to know about her. This myth is a pretty interesting one and people have been noticing her, so I decided to make a video on them. As always, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe to the channel so that we know that frogs are cool. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Amelia Agard is a Roblox myth that is best known for her games, The Tea Room and Amelia's Tea Shop, as well as being associated with myth and myth hunters such as Annabelle, the Overseer Toy, James Mendel, Absol Moon, and Akame Owo. Recently, Amelia has been catching the eyes of various myth hunters and Roblox myth YouTubers, myself included. This has led to her getting a small boost of traction within the Roblox myth community. I'll get more into this later on, so just know that. The story of Amelia Agard dates all the way back to January 13th, 2021, so less than 5 months ago at the time of recording this. This marks the day that Amelia made her Roblox account. Due to her joining in early 2021, this makes Amelia Agard one of the newer myths in the Roblox myth community. Anyways, on the same day that she joined, Amelia created her signature game, The Tea Room, which I'll get into later. Sometime between January and May of 2021, Amelia created her signature group, The Porcelain Cup, which has over 450 members at the time of writing this. The group itself contains a link to Amelia's Discord servers, The Porcelain Cup, which you should go join. It also contains links to Amelia's games, albeit the old versions of them. Other than that, there's nothing else to say about this group. In April of 2021, Amelia had begun to catch the attention of various myth hunters and Roblox myth YouTubers such as Absol Moon, Hanada's World, and Apex. This helped Amelia gain her first boost of traction and bring people to investigate her myth. It was also during this time that a lot of myths began noticing Amelia and being associated with her. April will mark the beginning of her rise in popularity. May of 2021 would prove to be a pretty interesting month for Amelia. Her growth would continue as she gave tours to various Roblox myth hunters and more videos would end up being made on her. However, something else would end up happening during this month. During the second half of May, both of Amelia's games were reported and taken down by Roblox due to God knows what. This means that both The Tea Room and Amelia's Tea Shop were both unable to be played. Understandably, Amelia was saddened by this, but she quickly remade The Tea Room and published it on May 19th, 2021. On May 21st, 2021, Amelia held a fashion show in a game called The Porcelain Runway, where myths that participated showed off clothes and outfits that they made. I and a few friends attended this event, which was cool. There is also video footage of the fashion show on YouTube, which you can go watch. Nowadays, Amelia is doing well for herself as well as with being a pretty active myth, having been last online around a day prior to recording this. Of course, this will have changed when this video goes up. Like every other Roblox myth, there is some more that one should know about Amelia Agard. However, the information for this section won't be taken from the myth community wiki. Instead, it will be taken from a video by Rainloon. Make sure to go subscribe to them as they need to gain something from this as well. As always, I'll read out the word and then break it down so that it's easier for the viewer to understand. So, according to the video, Amelia Agard is a French Victorian cannibal myth based in 19th century Paris. She grew up as a peasant girl with parents sharing a violent, abusive relationship. Eventually, her father shot her mother with a gun, yikes, and fled to the city, leaving Amelia to survive alone, deprived of love and family. As she grew up, she developed a dangerous addiction to tea. It gave her a sense of warmth and love, which she craved. Amelia couldn't live without it. She then met her first partner, and the two were happy in the beginning. However, one evening, the two had a horrible feud and it ended with Amelia being shot in the head. She woke up in hell where she met the devil. There, she signed a contract with Satan to devour men in exchange for her getting eternal life in order to drink tea. After this, Amelia returned to Earth as a cannibal, devouring men of high status and taking their money. This would make her a widow and allow her to purchase tea. However, her most recent partner, Arthur Agard, was the one she didn't take as much care of. He discovered that Amelia was a cannibal before she devoured him and vowed to show people. He secretly placed hints around the tea room to find her study, in places she could never find, hoping someone could find the truth. To break it all down, Amelia is a girl from 19th century Paris with a troubled childhood, which led to her developing a very bad addiction to tea. Due to this, she can't live without it and would do anything to get it. Sometime in the future, Amelia had met her first partner and were happy together until the two had an argument that ended with her getting shot. Amelia then went to hell and met Satan, where she signed a contract with him that turned her into a cannibal as well as giving her eternal life. She then returned to Earth and ate men that were rich in order to get their money and buy more tea. Something went wrong though. Amelia's newest partner, Arthur Agard, found out that she was a cannibal and had done things such as hiding hints in her tea room in order to try and get the truth out there. There is one more thing that people should know since it is related to the lore. So, Amelia owns the tea shop because it gives her an opportunity to invite random people in and essentially devour them so that she can make more tea. In a way, the tea shop is actually a slaughterhouse. This tea shop also allows her to make money from the tea produced by her. In my opinion, this lore is very good as it does explain some things that I was wondering about, like the story behind the myth style and design. It also gives some important backstory to Amelia's myth, which will help those trying to investigate her myth. In some ways, it also reveals that Amelia Agard's story is darker than one might think. Just like the last video, the section was fact-checked by Amelia Agard herself just so that it could be as accurate as possible. Regarding Amelia Agard's appearance, her avatar currently consists of an all-white skin tone along with the shadowed head UGC hat, the ruby crystal earrings UGC face accessory, the blonde ethereal hairstyle UGC hair accessory, the chain cape of the dark UGC back accessory, the veil UGC hat, the black beret UGC hat, the team maker's dress shirt, the black Victorian winter coat pants, the woman head, and the Roblox girl torso. In my opinion, Amelia's avatar is very good as it does look pretty realistic. I also like the way it portrays Victorian era Europe since it looks pretty accurate. To be honest, the head captures my attention since it looks pretty mysterious and dark. It does support the part that says she died but is now alive again. Overall, I give Amelia's avatar a 9.5 out of 10 since I think it looks really good and also depicts our myth's time period pretty well. I would talk about Amelia Agard's personality, but there's no information on that, so I won't talk about it in this video. As mentioned before, Amelia Agard has two games at the time of writing this. In order, the two games are The Tea Room and Amelia's Tea Shop. The most popular of the two is The Tea Room, with over 1,200 plays visits at the time of writing this. However, as I mentioned earlier, the original game that went by this name was taken down by Roblox. Prior to that happening, the game had accumulated over 7.7k plays visits, so for this reason I'll only be covering the remake of the game. Anyways, the Tea Room was made on May 19th, 2021, was last updated on May 21st, 2021, so less than a week prior to writing this. As to keep up with channel tradition, I'll be talking about what can be found in game. So, the player spawns in a white void that leads to a door that contains something on the other side of it. The player can click/tap on the door and it will lead into the tea room, which is implied by the title. Inside of here, there are quite a lot of secrets and random things that one can find. Right away, one can see a medium-sized room with quite a few chairs and two sofas that one can sit on. This is usually where people sit whenever they go on tours hosted by Amelia. There is also a table next to the chairs that contains things such as 2 teacups on coasters, a vase with roses, a tablecloth, and one more thing that I will get to later. One can also find several paintings on the walls, one of which reminds me of the album cover for Pink Floyd's 10th studio album, Animals. I don't know why, but it just does. Anyways, next to one of the sofas is a small table with a lamp, a book, and a vase with a lit candle inside of it. Also, in one of the corners of the room, there is a clock with a door that, when opened, will reveal a small storage room with a cup containing a human head as well as a recipe for something known as Melange Fauchen tea. In fact, this kind of tea will become useful for exploring the game, as we'll see later on. Right next to this, one can see a fireplace with a giant painting of Amelia Agard that looks pretty nice. There is a note in a vase that one can click or tap on. The note reads as follows. Dear Sheriff, I'm writing to you to warn you of what is soon to become of me. My wife, Mrs. Agard, is no lover. That woman had me fooled until I found her study. We need to find her immediately. I last saw her this morning making tea before she fled. This note confirms the part of the lore that says that Arthur wants to get the truth out about Amelia and who she really is. Going back to the chairs mentioned earlier, one can see a small desk with a telephone and a lamp. Unbeknownst to the average player, one can click or tap on the telephone and it will play the following audio.
Good evening, you must be a friend of Miss Agard's. This is Arthur. I'm calling you to provide you some assistance. You need to find her study right away to learn the truth. I'm running out of time, so I'll make this quick and short. Have an open mind about time.
This is supposed to urge the player to look around and find things that will help locate Amelia's study. The first thing one will have to do is look under the table for a key that will become useful. One can click or tap on the key and they will equip the case key. Next, the players will have to walk up to the painting that reminds me of Pink Floyd's Animals album and say the phrase Melange Fauchen tea. Saying this will open up the painting and allow the player to walk into a room that contains a few things such as lots of jars with blood and tea, several skulls scattered throughout the room, and most notably a case with a note inside of it. Using the key found earlier, one can open the case in this room and click or tap on the note. The note will read as follows. January 6, 1833. Today I read one of the most marvelous of novels. It was about lovers who quite frankly did not share the same connection. It lacked order. However, you could say the comedy in the novel was quite golden. Based on this note, we learned that Amelia had read a novel that she found pretty funny yet, quote, lacked order. She probably read a comedic version of 50 Shades of Grey or something, I don't know. Well, that's all there is to be found in this area of the map. Directly across from this room is one of the paintings that, in reality, is covering up a safe. One can click or tap on the red button on the bottom of the painting and the aforementioned safe will be shown. A code is required to open the safe, which is 2768. After one pushes the buttons correctly, the safe will then open and reveal a couple things such as a jar full of white stuff and a note. One can click or tap on the note and it will show a note that simply reads, "Go back." This is insinuating that the player must return to the start of the game. One will have to go to the start of the game and walk around the right wall. Here, a secret door can be opened if you know where it is. Once it is opened, a small hallway that leads to a room requiring a code will be revealed. The code for the room is 2768, the same as the one for the safe. Once the code is entered, the door will be opened and it will lead to a small room that contains a couple things, such as a bright light and a pedestal. The pedestal in question has a note and a key, which will be useful later. The player can click or tap on a note and it will read, "Find the truth." This basically means that the player should go find the truth behind who Amelia really is. Anyways, the player will need to walk back to the fireplace seen in the tea room, and the second key can be used to open the area that is behind the fireplace. Once this is done, the player will enter the fireplace and it will reveal a small room that is in fact Amelia's study. There are several things such as a desk with several things, a small safe with loads of cash surrounding it, a giant teacup in the corner, a closet, and a group of photos with strings connecting them all. This is actually a board that contains photos of all of Amelia's ex-husbands, along with two articles that have headlines such as "Cannibal on the Loose," and another one that I can't quite make out. Amelia's study also has an upside down cross on the wall, which confirms the power of the Lord that says she made a deal with the devil. One thing I will say is that in a previous version of the tea room, the giant teacup in the corner of Amelia's study had dead bodies in it as well as blood, which further confirms that Amelia is a cannibal that kills people and converts them into tea. Other than that, there's not much else to see in game. In my opinion, the Tea Room is a very interesting game that has quite a bit of things for the viewer to do. The fact that so much of the myth's lore can be discovered in this game is honestly quite interesting. As mentioned earlier in the video, the original version of the Tea Room was taken down in late May of 2021, which honestly sucks a lot. Amelia Agard herself told me that she had a mental breakdown when the games were taken down by Roblox, which is understandable. However, she is currently remaking both of her games, which is good. I will say that I didn't cover Amelia's Tea Shop mainly because the game isn't up, so I won't talk about it for this video. All in all, the Tea Room is a game that the viewer should go play. As with every popular Roblox myth, there are several relationships that Amelia Agard has with other people, with each relationship playing a different part in her myth story. The information for this section will be taken from Amelia's group, so let's get into the relationships. The first relationship that Amelia Agard has is with a user known as Villia. She is Amelia's maid, at least according to the group. For the minority of people that don't know, Villia does the housework such as laundry, cooking, cleaning, and shopping. I don't know why I mentioned this, but there are people that don't know what a maid is, so yeah. The second relationship that Amelia has is with her cashier, or should I say, relationships with her cashiers. What I mean is, there is more than one cashier in her group. In order, the cashiers are James Mandel, Owen Blocks 53, Bacon Kid, Lil Cutie 2279, and Felco. In order to explain what this means, the people in question are cashiers for Amelia's now deleted game, Amelia's Tea Shop. They run the checkout lines and are employees of the tea shop. That's the best way I can explain it. The third relationship that Amelia has is with fellow myths. In her myth group, they are under the Myth Sippers rank. Basically, these are other Roblox myths that Amelia Agard is associated with. Some of the more notable ones include Annabelle, Jimmy Broken, and Anzersha. Some of them have even been seen with Amelia in-game. The fourth and final relationship that Amelia has is with the God of Amelia. Not gonna lie, that's a funny nickname for someone. Anyways, the person that goes by this is a user known as the Change Viewer. I'm not entirely sure how this person is related to Amelia, but I still wanted to mention it. My best guess is that the Change Viewer is someone that Amelia looks up to or is friends with. Again, I'm not entirely sure how the two are related. Those are all the relationships that Amelia has with other people, with each relationship playing a different part in her myth story. As with every other well-known Roblox myth, there is a bit of trivia that one should know about Amelia Agard. By now, you probably know what trivia is, but I'll say it again for those of you that are new to the channel. Trivia is just extra facts that are relevant enough to make it onto the video. So, without further ado, let's get into the trivia. The first and only piece of trivia is that in the original version of The Tea Room, there was a secret jump scare that one could get. In order for one to get this jump scare, they would have to go to the room where the key for the fireplace is located. The thing about this jump scare is that not a lot of people have seen it, hence why it is a secret jump scare. Fortunately, I recorded the jump scare as I'm currently one of the few people that has seen it. However, it is likely that more people will have seen this jump scare as time goes on. Anyways, without further ado, let's play the footage. Okay, so we're here somehow. Oh my god, seizure time. Seizure warning. You were kicked from this experience. have been kicked from the game. I'm gonna be honest, that jump scare did not faze me at all. So, yeah. I'm gonna check if this, I'm thinking this is the end of the tour or something, I do not know. Now you probably know more about the secret jump scare. However, I'm not sure if it is in the remake of The Tea Room. I know there wasn't that much information for this section, but I still feel like talking about what was available. After all, the secret jump scare is something a lot of people might not have known about. To wrap this all up, Amelia Agard is a Roblox myth that is best known for her games as well as being associated with other popular Roblox myths. In the past couple of months, Amelia has been gaining popularity amongst the Roblox myth community, which has benefited her in many different ways. Amelia's myth is very interesting, which has contributed to her rise in popularity. Her story dates all the way back to January of 2021 and has developed her myth since. The myth's score reaches topics such as cannibalism, having a tea addiction, and having a troubled past that affects her current lifestyle. Combining all of these elements, it is understandable as to why Amelia Agard has recently been rising up the ranks in the Roblox myth community. This only led to many Roblox myth YouTubers making videos on Amelia Agard's myth, which in turn led to her getting even more popular. There are a couple games related to her myth that can tell the lore in an actual interesting way, mainly because there are lots of secrets that one can find within them. Along with this, there are several relationships that Amelia has with others, with each relationship playing a different role in her myth story. All in all, Amelia Agard is a Roblox myth that, like a majority of the ones I've covered in recent times, has potential to grow very big and become recognizable within the Roblox myth community. After all, I know quite a few people that have made videos on her myth and are interested in the story, which proves that she is a good myth. That being said, Amelia Agard will forever be a popular Roblox myth, and that's everything.